Alrighty, folks. Good. I always want to say morning, because I feel like I should be doing this in the morning, but I am doing this at like 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Sun is setting behind the camera, but I'm at the bottom of a hill in some shade. This is a really nice sitting place. I haven't ever been here before. This is where I went to elementary school, and they didn't have this little, I'll show it to you, but it's like a little like concrete, like they dug into the hill and like, look, like you see, like they dug into the hill. How do we get that angle? And then put like concrete there to form this little like picnic pad, which is dope. Yeah, I'm trying to sit on the playground. The place that I was at this weekend had a tire swing that I wanted to record on, but it's like cool, dope. You can sit on the tire swing, and then where do you put the phone? So where I've been putting the phone is in like sticks. That like there's always sticks everywhere because this is New York, and so sticks, right? And like then I'm gonna be swinging on the swings and not be paying attention, just too much kinetic motion. I got paint on my glasses. Let's see if I can get that off. I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore yesterday, which is washed, but you know how the washing machine works is that you wash it, and then what you wore is like now on top of the pile, like, you know, like you fold the laundry and then it's on top of the pile. And you might be saying, well, that's a nice shirt, you should hang it up. And the answer is I do. And I actually was not wearing this shirt earlier this morning, but I was painting, and so the painting shirt that I wore got paint and sweat, because I'm a man and I do man things. And then I come to a playground and read the word at night, you know, praise Yahweh. And then I grabbed this because I also, after this, need to go get a tux for a wedding on Saturday, which is going to be, you know, wedding stuff and stuff. So let's pray. Oh, Father Yahweh, thank you for the blessings that you've given me today and the witnesses that you've allowed me to bear. And I'm sorry that I have not been able to follow your will as perfectly as I've been ordered it, and I ask that we have that behind us and move forward in that I be your mouth and the vessel by which you pour out your Holy Spirit, and that you get what you need out of this Bible reading, and the people hear what you need them to know, and that they get blessed and that I get blessed. And we know that you are blessed, Father Yahweh. We love you, and we gather in your word, and we praise you in Yeshua's name. Amen. Alright, so YouTube's gonna like love this shirt. They're just gonna see everybody. I'm gonna have the same shirt on so many times that people are gonna be like, oh, which video is this? Like they'll be like, oh, I watched that video and he was wearing this shirt, and like wear the shirt every day. Alright, you won't see it for at least a week because laundry and stuff. Praise Yahweh. Day 155. 2 Chronicles chapter 21 and 22 and John 14, starting at 2 Chronicles chapter 21. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Jehoram his son reigned in his place. And he had brothers, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariahu and Yehiel, and Zachariahu and Azariahu and Michael and Shaphatyahu. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Yisrael. And their father gave them many gifts of silver and gold and precious items with walled cities in Yehuda. But he had given the reign to Jehoram because he was the firstborn. And when Jehoram had risen up over the reign of his father and strengthened himself, he killed all his brothers with the sword, and also others of the heads of Israel. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the sovereigns of Israel as the house of Ahab had done, for he had the daughter of Ahab as a wife. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. However, Yahweh would not destroy the house of David, because of the covenant he had made with David, and since he had promised to give a lamp to him and to his sons all the days. In his days the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Yehuda, and appointed a sovereign over themselves. Then Jehoram went out with his officers and all his chariots with him. And it came to be that he rose by night and struck the Edomites who had surrounded him and the commanders of the chariots. Thus the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Yehuda to this day. Then Libnah revolted from under his hand, because he had forsaken Yahweh, Elohim of his fathers. He had also made high places in the mountains of Yehuda, and caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit whoring, and led Yehuda astray. And a letter came to him from Eliyahu the prophet, saying, Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of your father David, because you have not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat your father, or in the ways of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, but have walked in the way of the sovereigns of Israel, and have made Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit whoring like the whorings of the house of Ahab, and also have killed your brothers, those of your father's house who were better than yourself. See, Yahweh is going to strike with a great blow among your people, your children, your wives, and all your possessions, and you with many sicknesses, with disease of your intestines, until your intestines come out because of the sickness day by day. And Yahweh stirred up the spirit of the Philistines against Jehoram, and of the Arabians who were near the Cushites. And they came up into Yehuda and broke into it, and captured all the possessions that were found in the sovereign's house, and also his sons and his wives, so that there was not a son left to him except Jehoahaz, the youngest of his sons. And after all this, Yahweh plagued him in his intestines with a disease for which there was no healing. And it came to be in the course of time, at the end of 2 years, that his intestines came out because of his sickness, and he died in great pain. And his people made no burning for him, like the burning for his fathers. And he was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem, to no one's regret, and passed away. And they buried him in the city of David, but not in the burial sites of the sovereigns. This man doesn't even get buried with the kings. Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and Jehoram reigned in his place. Jehoshaphat's running Judah, and Jehoram has brothers, Azaryahu and Yehiel and Zechariah and Azaryahu and Mikael and Shephatiah. Their father gave them many gifts, left them quite an inheritance, with walled cities in Yehuda, but he had given the reign to Jehoram because he was the firstborn. Naturally. And when Jehoram had risen up over the reign of his father and strengthened himself, he killed all his brothers with the sword, and also others of the heads of Israel. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. See that again in the end of the chapter. He walked in the way of the sovereigns of Israel as the house of Ahab had done, for he had the daughter of Ahab as a wife, and he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. So again, another man following men and not following Yahweh. And Ahab, we know, was the guy who went to war with the Arameans in chapter 18 and got stuck. And who is I don't even know who is leading. Israel at this point. Yahweh doesn't destroy him, but he does make his days difficult. The Edomites revolt and declare a sovereign. Basically, they don't form a coup, but they secede from Judah. And it came to be that he rose by night and struck the Edomites who had surrounded him and the commanders of his chariots. Thus the Edomites revolted from under the hands of Yehudah to this day. Then Libnah revolted from under his hand, because he had forsaken Yahweh of his fathers. And he made the high places in the mountains of Judah, caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit whoring, led Yehudah astray. And so we've seen all through Chronicles this back and forth, high places, destroy the Asherim. I hope by the end of this book I can kind of comprehend, understand this whole high places in the mountain thing. Like, it seems like there's why do they keep being called up the mountains to make high places? Like, I don't understand exactly what's going on there. And then they build a statue, they build a obelisk to these gods. And it's not even like, like Yahweh is everywhere. Like, Yahweh is the spirit that we all come from. Like, Yahweh, the Holy Spirit is the spirit that we all come from. And so there's no way that these people weren't feeling a connection to Yahweh, So I just find it difficult to believe that they're being called up to these mountains by false gods and building these places to them, So we'll see more about that. And a letter came to him from Eliyahu the prophet, saying, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim of your father David, because you have not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat your father, or in the ways of Asa, sovereign of Yehudah. Jehoshaphat's his dad, and Asa, I believe, was the king before, in chapter 14, the previous king who had taken down the Asherim and the pillars. So I guess this would be Yehoram's grandfather, would be Asa. But I've walked in the ways of the sovereigns of Israel. Why are you following Israel? You have great examples in Judah. And have made Yehudah and the inhabitants of Israel to commit whoring, like the whoring of the house of Ahab, of Jerusalem, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which is Yah's city. And have killed your brothers, those of your father's household, who were better than yourself. So this guy, not only is this guy an a-hole, like, he's greedy and he doesn't want people to rise. Like, he doesn't want anybody to be better than him. Instead of making himself better, he's killing the people that are better than him to lower the bar. See, Yahweh is going to strike with a great blow among your people, your children, your wives, and all your possessions, and you with many sicknesses, with disease of your intestines, until your intestines come out because of the sickness day by day. So literally, this is prophesied, this whole thing about his intestines coming out, which must have been gruesome, and it says he died in great pain. The Philistines come up against Yehoram. This prophet Eliyahu is obviously accurate, the man of Yah in the day, and he just pretty much writes a letter and says, hey, this is going to be your fate, and this guy's so arrogant and cocky that he has no interest in changing. So Yahuwah intervenes, stirs up the spirit of the Philistines. He's just got his hand in everything. Whipping it open the pot. And they came up into Yehuda and broke into it and captured all the possessions that were found in the sovereign's house, and also his sons and his wives, so that there was not a son left to him except Jehoahaz, the youngest of his sons. Oh man, so again, Yahuwah's taken the youngest. We're going to see in 22 if he comes to reign. After all this, Yahuwah plagued them in his intestines with a disease for which there was no healing. I mean, Yahuwah doesn't need medicine to heal people. Yeshua says, take up your bed and go. He spits in people's eyes to heal the blind. Like, he doesn't... There was no healing because Yahuwah deemed that there would be no healing. He was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem, to no one's regret, which is an interesting addition there, to no one's regret, and passed away. So the people seem to like him, or at least the writer of Chronicles, which I don't know that we have the actual author. I don't know that we know who's writing this. Probably is one of those situations where there's a lot of additions. I'm getting baked by the sun right now. There's like this little hole. Man, this is like, if you ever been like, you ever seen Manhattan 5th Avenue when the sun's going down? Like, that's the hole that's coming out right here. Look at this. You probably can't even see it because of the way, like, maybe if I go like, woo! That's why my eye looks like there's a bug in it, which there's not. It's the sun. The sun's in my eye. That's probably what it looks like. Chapter 22. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem set up Yahaziyahu, his youngest son, to reign in his place. For the raiding band that came with the Arabians into the camp had killed all the older sons. So Ahaziyahu, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehuda, reigned. So this guy is the guy. There's discrepancy here about, this is one of the times we attribute it to a copying error. If anybody has any more information on this, hit me up. This is used quite often by people to say that the Bible is wrong, because if it was perfect, then this would not have been copied wrong. Jehoram. I think it's going to be the chapter 2 before this. Amatziyahu. Ahaziyahu. They're like, their names are so similar. Basically what ends up happening is that there's a chapter in 2 Kings, basically because Kings and Yehu, son of Jehoshaphat. So, like, all these names are so different. And Elisha the prophet, Yoram, and Jehoram. Edom revolts. Aram Then Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, the sovereign of Yehuda, went down to see Joram, son of Ahab, in Israel, for he was sick. Okay, so at this point, we gotta be coming on the takeover here. Joram. Reigns in Yehuda. Ahab had 70. Is this like... These might be from different, like... from different chapters here. Like, from different, like, perspectives. Like, is Kings from Israel and Chronicles of Yehuda? That would make a lot of sense. Also a place where where am I looking for all of this? I thought this was in 2 Kings, but it definitely is seeming like it might just be in Chronicles. But basically what we're about to read, we didn't even read the whole chapter yet. Alright, let's just read the chapter. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem set up Ahaziah, his youngest son, to reign in his place. For the raiding band that came with the Arabians to the camp had killed all the older sons. So Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehuda, reigned. Ahaziah was 42 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. And his mother's name was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri. He too walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother counseled him to do wrong. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. He also walked in their counsel, and went with Jehoram, son of Ahab, sovereign of Israel, to fight against Hazael, sovereign of Aram, at Ramoth Galad. And the Arameans struck Joram, and he returned to Israel to recover from the strikings with which they struck him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. And Azariah, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehuda, went down to Jehoram, son of Ahab, in Israel, for he was sick. But from Elohim came the downfall of Ahaziah through his coming to Joram. For when he came, he went out with Jehoram against Jehu, son of Nimshi, whom Yahuwah had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it came to be, when Jehu was executing judgment on the house of Ahab, that he found the rulers of Yehuda and the sons of Ahaziah, brothers who served Ahaziah, and killed them. So he searched for Ahaziah, and they caught him while he was hiding in Shomeron, and brought him to Jehu, and put him to death, then buried him. For they said, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought Yahuwah with all his heart. And there was none in the house of Ahaziah strong enough to reign. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she rose up and destroyed all the offspring of the reign of the house of Yehuda. But Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the sovereign, took Joash, son of Yahaziah, and stole him away from among the sovereign's sons who were slain, and put him and his nurse in a bedroom. So Jehoshabeth, the daughter of sovereign Jehoram, the wife of Jehoiada, the priest, because she was the sister of Ahaziah, concealed him from Athaliah, so that she could not put him to death. And he was hidden with them in the house of Elohim for 6 years, while Athaliah was reigning over the land. Okay, so that's the end of 22. And now we've got more information for context of where this chapter would be, because I do remember them hiding a kid for 6 years so that the son had someone to reign in his place. Do y'all remember where that was? Got a whole bunch of names here. Bam. Praise Yahweh. And I should have read this when we did 2 Kings 8. Yahweh told me to read this and I failed him. So, confession of my sins right here. So, we've got 2 Chronicles 22. Starts out with, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem set up Ahaziah, his youngest son, to reign in his place, for the raiding bands that came with the Arabians into the camp had killed all the older sons. So Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehuda, reigned. Ahaziah was 42 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year, and his mother's name was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri. Okay, so this is the verse in question. Chapter 22, verse 2. Ahaziah was 42 years old when he began to reign. He reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. His mother's name was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri. And so in 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 26, Ahaziah was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and the name of his mother was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri, sovereign of Israel. So he is basically stated here to be, and this is where this gets really confusing. Sovereign of Yehuda went down to see Joram, son of Ahab, in Israel, for he was sick. So it says here that he's sovereign of Israel. Like, I think that this verse is just not Joram, son of Ahab, sovereign of Israel. Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehuda, began to reign. Ahaziah, okay, so he does rule Yehuda. And so Ahaziah was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri, son of Israel, sovereign of Israel. So where this sovereign of Israel comes in, I don't exactly know. Basically, the issue is that these verses don't line up, and there could have been a copying error, but there could also be a literal translation error, because the fact that this verse just has interjected sovereign of Israel is weird. So could have been a wrong something. Like, because he's clearly the sovereign of Yehuda. It says it the verse before. So this whole verse might just be a little weird thing. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab. And so, but from Elohim came the downfall of Ahaziah through his coming to Joram. For when he came out with Jehoram against Jehu, son of Nimshi, whom Yahweh had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. With Jehoram against, came to be when Jehu was executing judgment on the house of Ahab, that he found the rulers of Yehuda and the sons of Ahaziah's brothers, who served Ahaziah, and killed them. So he searched for Ahaziah, and they caught him while he was hiding in Shomeron, and brought him to Jehu, and put him to death, then buried him, for they said, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought Yahweh with all his heart. And there was none in the house of Ahaziah strong enough to reign. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. Okay. Walked in the ways of the house of Ahab and did evil in the eyes of Yahweh as the house of Ahab had done, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab, sovereign of Israel, the granddaughter of Omri, sovereign of Israel. So she was... Okay, so his mother is the granddaughter of a sovereign of Israel. Omri? At some point, do we have an Omri? A couple generations back? Do we have an Omri? I think the book starts with Solomon, no? 2 Kings? Book starts with, follows the house of Ahab, Israel, Shomeron. Ahab began to reign. Ahaziah, son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel. Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers. See, this timeline gets real screwy too. I need to read like all 4 books of these. And maybe somebody on YouTube has a timeline that they've written all of this on. Which might not be necessarily perfectly correct, but oh no, it's Solomon's long dead by 2 Kings. He's got that's how 1 Kings starts out. Ahab, we're still with Ahab. Rehoboam, Asa, Nabat. I'm just looking for an Omri. Omri, in the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Ahab, son of Omri, became sovereign over Israel. And Ahab, son of Omri, reigned over Israel and Shomeron 22 years. Okay? And Ahab, son of Omri, did evil. So we've got this one. We've got a son of Omri. What verse was that? Was 2 Kings 8. Okay. Omri. Omri is the father of Ahab. His mother's name. 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. The granddaughter of Omri, sovereign of Israel. Okay, so Omri was the sovereign of Israel. He had a granddaughter named Athaliah. Ahab. Which probably was Ahab's daughter. Probably, but not necessarily. Because Ahab goes all the way. There's a lot of book in here. And all of the house of Ahab shall perish. Jehoram is the son of Ahab. My bean is cooked. Yahuwah, lead me. And anoint Yehu, son of Nimshi, as sovereign over Israel, and anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat, of Abel Mahala, as prophet in your place. And it shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Yehu does kill, and whoever escapes the sword of Yehu, Elisha does kill. And I shall leave 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. And he went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he was with the 12th. And Eliyahu passed by him and threw his robe on him. And he left the oxen and ran after Eliyahu and said, Please let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I follow you. And he said to him, Go, turn back, for what have I done to you? And he turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them and cooked their flesh, using the implements of the oxen, and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he rose up and followed Eliyahu and became his servant. At the hand of Isabel. Son of Nimshi, and go in and make him rise from among his brothers, and take him to an inner room, and take the flask of oil and pour it on his head, and say, Thus said Yahuwah, I have anointed you sovereign over Israel. Then you shall open the door and flee, and do not wait. So the young man the prophet, went to Ramoth Galad, and came in and saw the commanders of the army sitting. And he said, I have a message for you, O commander. And Yehu said, For which one of us? And he said, For you, commander. And he rose up and went into the house, and he poured the oil on his head, and said to him, Thus said Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, I have anointed you sovereign over the people of Yahuwah, over Israel. And you shall strike the house of Ahab, your master, and I shall avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants at the hand of Isabel. And all the house of Ahab shall perish. And I shall cut off from Ahab all the males in Israel, both those shut up and those left at large. And I shall give up the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, son of Ahijah. And the dogs are going to eat Isabel in the portion of Israel, with none to bury her. Then he opened the door and fled. And Yehu came out to the servants of his master, and one said to him, Is there peace? Why did this madman come to you? And he said to them, You know the man and his talk. And they said, A lie. Reveal it to us now. So he said, Thus and thus he spoke to me, saying, Thus said Yahuwah, I have anointed you sovereign over Israel. And they hurried, and each one took his garment and put it under him on the top of the steps. And they blew with the shofar, saying, Yehu reigns. Thus Yehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had been guarding Ramoth Galad, he and all Israel, against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. But sovereign Jehoram had returned to Israel to recover from the wounds which the Arameans had stricken him when he fought with Hazael, sovereign of Aram. Yehu now said, If this is your desire, let no one leave or escape from the city to go and make it known in Israel. And Yehu rode in a chariot and went to Israel, for Joram was laid up there, and Ahaziah, sovereign of Yehuda, had come down to see Joram. And a watchman stood on the tower in Israel, and he saw the company of Yehu as he came, and said, I see a company of men. And Jehoram said, Get a horseman, and send him to meet them, and let him say, Is there peace? Okay. Yahuwah will reveal why that's important tomorrow. Let's go to John 14. me take a sip of agua. Okay. They put this giant fence down here, and there's a gate in the middle of it. And all these trees. Nobody's walking through this fence line, and nobody's opening that gate. It's literally vine buried. And I don't understand. There's seemingly no point to it. John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places. And if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you might be too. And where I go you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you are going, and how are we able to know the way? Yeshua said to him, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father too. From now on, you know him and have seen him. Philip said to him, Master, show us the Father, and it is enough for us. Yeshua said to him, I have been with you so long, and you have not known me, Philip. He who has seen me has seen the Father. And how do you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am the Father, and the Father is in me? I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak from myself, but the Father who stays in me does his work. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Otherwise, believe me because of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. And whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. If you love me, you shall guard my commands. And I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper, to stay with you forever, the Spirit of the truth, whom the world is unable to receive, because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. I shall not leave you orphans, I am coming to you. Yet a little while, and the world no longer sees me. But you shall see me, because I live, and you shall live. In that day you shall know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father. And I shall love him and manifest myself to him. Yehuda, not the one from Caria, said to him, Master, what has come about that you are about to manifest yourself to us and not to the world? Yeshua answered him, If anyone loves me, he shall guard my word, and my Father shall love him, and we shall come to him and make our stay with him. He who does not love me does not guard my words, and the word which you hear is not mine, but of the Father who sent me. These words I have spoken to you while still with you. But the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all, and remind you all that I said to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You heard that I said to you, I am going away, and I am coming to you. If you did love me, you would have rejoiced that I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it takes place, that when it does take place, you shall believe. I shall no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he possesses none at all in me. But in order for the world to know that I love the Father, and that as the Father commanded me, so I am doing, rise up, let us go from here. That's a cliffhanger. We don't know where they're going until we read chapter 15 tomorrow. But we'll go back from the top. Timely. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me, says Yeshua. This is Yeshua talking at the top of the chapter. And this seems to be the kind of theme of the chapter, the motif, if you will. In my Father's house are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So believe in Elohim, my Father. He's got many staying places, which is like spots for his workers, you know. Like, think about him having, you know, like, this is the kingdom, right? And so we're servants of Elohim, and so he's got places for us to stay. And Yeshua would have told us if that wasn't true, because he speaks the truth, and he is going to prepare the place for us. If I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am you might be too. Hey, I want you with me, but I gotta go make the beds, and so let me go clean the house, and when I come, if I have made a place for you, when I come back, I will receive you. I will receive you so that you can be with me forever. And where I go, you know, and the way you know how to get there, and you know where I'm going. Like, you're understanding all of this, in that this is the eternal life. Being with the Father. Damnation is separation. Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you are going, and how are we able to know the way? We don't even know where the destination is. How are we going to get there? Says Thomas, who also needed to feel the nail holes in Yeshua's hands. Got a giant squasher right there. And my hair's all wonky. Look, if you look at like the tree, like, hold on. Now it looks like my hair, like I got one of those like globe things going on. Praise Yahweh. If you had known me, you would have known my Father too. From now on, you know him and have seen. If you're in relationship with me, if you're understanding me, if you're becoming intimate with me and you're getting to know me, then you know my Father, because I and my Father are one. 10:30, John 10:30. Philip said to him, Master, show us the Father, and it is enough for us. Show us the Father. You're here, you're physical. Look, we get it. You know, you're doing all this cool stuff, but Elohim, I mean, like, he's got to be bigger than you, right? Says Philip. Yeshua said to him, have I been with you so long, and you have not known me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father, and how do you say, show us the Father? Really? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? Still not getting it. You think I'm just doing all this cool stuff by myself? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak from myself, but the Father who stays in me does his work. I couldn't make this stuff up, bro. I am not this powerful. I am not this great. The Father who stays in me does his works. Use me as your vessel, Father, so that your will be done, and do your works by my hands. Believe me, 11, believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Otherwise, believe me because of the works themselves. These works that you see my hands doing cannot be works of mine. You've never seen a man do this before. And the only reason you've never seen a man do this before is because the Father hasn't been in a man such as he's been in me. That's why I have this power. That's why I have this authority. Otherwise, believe me because of the works themselves. if you believe the works, if you can witness with your own eyes, people, the blind being given sight, the dumb being, the dumb hearing, and the lame walking, and the leprous being healed, if you can believe all of this, if you see it, if you witness it, if you can actualize it in the physical reality, believe that the Father is in me, because those are the works that prove his existence. And I am doing the works physically before you with his Spirit in me. Says Yeshua. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I shall do, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go to my Father. You're going to have a lot more time than I do. And you're going to do greater works, and I am so excited for you to have the belief in me, because the works that I do, you shall do also. He shall do also, and greater works. And I'll be watching over you as well once I go to my Father. And whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. Now you've not only got the Father to call upon, you've got Yahuwah working for you, but you have the Son to ask of the Father through. And I am working for you. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. I shall do it. If you ask whatever in my name, and whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do, in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. Yeshua is the guy. Yahuwah is the ultimate. He fights our battles, as we saw in 2 Chronicles 19 yesterday. Was it 19? Had to be 19. Yeah. 2 Chronicles 19 yesterday. Yahuwah fights our battles, but Yeshua is the more accessible giver, right? It's like Yeshua, like we walk with Yeshua daily, and so Yeshua walks with us daily. He is there, like walking us to the bus stop every day. You know, he is, you know, picking us up from school. He is our counselor. He is our therapist. He is our drug dealer. And like, I'm not saying that he's necessarily taking the form of these people in your lives, although maybe he is, but he is the source of this euphoria that we get, the source of safety, the source of protection, the source of camaraderie, the source of, you know, that friend that we need. He is there for us. And I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever. Listen. Oh, we skipped 15. One of the more important ones to my theology, but if you love me, you shall guard my commands. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it. If you love me, you shall guard my commands. We'll get more into that in a minute. But yeah, if you love him, guard his commands. What are his commands? The Father's commands. What are the Father's commands? About this much of the book. Just about that much of the book. Literally opened right to, that's Joshua. That's the last page of Deuteronomy. The Father knows. Ain't nobody tricking the Father. The Father knows. All. Every day. Every second of the day. And I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever. I did open up to 2 Samuel first, but he knew where to take me. I know. It's like, he's relying on people who are not perfect. Yeshua. Like, Yeshua getting it done right the first time, like, I can just imagine, like, the Father being like, all right, Yeshua, you got to go in and handle this. These people, they're just not getting it. They're just not, like, can you go deal with this customer, Yeshua? The Spirit of the truth, whom the world is unable to receive because it does not see him or know him. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. Okay, so this is a two-parter here. I shall ask the Father, he shall give you another helper to stay with you. We know that this is the capital H helper, the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of truth, Yeshua calls it, whom the world is unable to receive because the world is built on a lie. The world cannot provide you the truth because the world is not of Elohim. The world is not for Elohim. The world is of Elohim, but the world is not for Elohim. If I'm articulating that correctly. The world is unable to receive the truth. I mean, look at it now. Like, the masses are being deceived. Like, overwhelmingly, deceit rules the world right now. And, John 8, verse 40, but you seek to kill me, a man who has spoken to you the truth, which I heard from Elohim. Abraham did not do this. You do the works of your father. They said to him, we were not born of whoring. We have one father, Elohim, the Yehudim. Yeshua said to them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I came forth from Elohim and am here. For I have not come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not know what I say? Because you are unable to hear my word. You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you wish to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and has not stood in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So that is the lie. The devil is the cause of the lie, just like in Genesis. We went over this in John 8, but he lies to Eve. He gets her to lie. He deceives her. He gets her to lie about he lies to her. He says, you shall certainly not die. He says, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the Nahash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree of the garden, which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. That is from chapter 2, 16, 17. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. The lie caused the murder, back to the world not accepting the truth. But you know him, for he stays with you and shall be in you. I shall not leave you orphans. I am coming to you. Know Elohim, stay in Elohim, his word, his commands, and he will stay in you. I shall not leave you orphans. You are my children. You are his children. You are my children. I am coming to you. Just like the metaphor about getting them off the bus. Getting you off the bus. Yet a little while, and the world no longer sees me. And like picking you up from soccer practice as well. He's not gonna leave you there. Verse 19. Yet a little while, and the world no longer sees me. But you shall see me, because I live, and you shall live. In that day you shall know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. The world no longer sees me. So I'm physically here. Once I die, the world won't see me. Not only physically, but they won't have the manifestation of Elohim working physical wonders, not just miracles, not just the action of healing the blind, because like the apostles go on to do that, but not just miracles, wonders, like the inexplicable action of the Spirit in interactions. So in that day that you shall know that I am in my Father. Once I'm gone, you'll know what you missed. And you in me, and I in you. And because we are one, we will be all with each other. There's a kid up there. How's it going? Always wave to people. Know your neighbor. Say hello to people. Okay. I said kid, he was probably like, I don't know. He was either a regular size 13-year-old or like an overgrown 8-year-old. He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me. Possesses, owns my commands, takes responsibility for the things that I have set forth your doing of. These are your responsibilities, walking with me, and possess them, own them. They're my commands, guard them, and that'll tell me and others that you love me. And he who loves me shall be loved by the Father. Do these things, and the Father will bless you. The Father will love you. Because he wants you to do, if you're making the goal, the action to do my things, then the Father will reprove and instruct you to do those things better. Be the best that you can be. And that's really what this is being the best you that you can be. And having that relationship with the Creator as the source of life is the... Sorry, I got distracted by the world there. That's what that happens. If y'all ever catch yourself in that motion, or see me in that motion, that's a worldly distraction. And if you see others, same thing. That's the separation from the Spirit, and the world's coming into you. And he who loves me shall be loved by my Father. The Father will perfect you in the doing of Yeshua's will and Yeshua's commands. I shall love him and manifest myself to him. I'm on his team at that point, and we know that whatever you ask in my name, I shall do. Bro, I got you. And manifest myself to him. By the bro, I got you, when you ask something in my name and I do it, let that be the sign that I am there doing the miracle in your name. How is it said in verse 11? Believe in me that I am in the Father and the Father in me. Otherwise, believe me through the works themselves. The works that you do with love, the works that you do through love for me by keeping the commands that I have made you responsible for and taking ownership for them, will be the manifestation of myself to you. Yehuda, not the one from Kerioth, said to him, Master, what has come about that you are about to manifest yourself to us and not to the world? Again, just confusion, just time and time again. Why are you going to manifest yourself to us and not to the world? Yeshua answered him. So they're thinking this is only for the apostles, and Yeshua answers them, if anyone loves me, he shall guard my word, and my Father shall love him, and we shall come to him and make our stay with him. We started this chapter off, let not your heart be troubled, believe in Elohim, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. we shall come to him and make our stay with him. If anyone loves me, he shall guard my word, and my Father shall love him. Physically guard my word. Act upon it. Act upon the things that I've taught you. This will show me that you love me. My Father will love you. We, the Father and the Son, there's so much power here. We shall come to him and make our stay with him. So anyone, Gentile, Jew, all the tribes of Israel, whoever, the nations, pagan, you come to Yeshua, you start doing Yeshua's things, you show that you love him, you guard his word. This is not just the Torah, but this is the actions of Yeshua. This is definitely the Torah. We'll get into that more in Revelation. The commands of Yahuwah and the testimony of Yeshua as HaMashiach. And we shall come to him and make our stay with him. We will be there for him at all points, at all times. He will be in us and we will be in him. He who does not love me, he will be with us and we will be with him. He who does not love me does not guard my words. And the word which you hear is not mine, but of the Father who sent me. Simple enough. 25. These words I have spoken to you while still with you. These words I have shown you how to do the Torah. Don't lengthen your tzitzit. Wear the tzitzit. Don't wash your hands ritualistically. Those are traditions of your father. Don't follow the traditions of your father. You know the commands. Do not adulter. Do not commit adultery. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Do not rob. Respect your father and your mother. Love God. Love your neighbor. For this cause a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Work miracles in my name. Have compassion. In the beginning was the Word. I just want to go here for a second. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. The Word. The action, the consequence, and the reason. The reason, the action, the consequence. The before, during, and after. The Word. But the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all, and remind you of all that I said to you. The Holy Spirit. Is the memory bank that we access. It's silly to have this wealth of knowledge unless it came from Elohim. Because miracles can be done without knowing where the information came from. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Peace I leave with you. You're going to be in peace. My peace I give to you. It is his peace. You're going to be in peace, at rest. because of the actions that you take and the way that the relationship with the Father that you have by walking in me and staying in me is the peace, because you won't be plagued. You will be so blessed. And that is the peace, is knowing that you're in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. That is peace. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Your heart is crooked. Did not Moshe give you the Torah, yet not one of you does the Torah? What should we do to work the works of Elohim? This is the work of Elohim, that you believe in him whom he sent. My Father works until now, and I work. You heard that I said to you, I am going away and coming to you. And now I have told you before it takes place, that when it does take place, you shall believe. I shall no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he possesses none at all in me. Satan. Matthew 4. Luke 4 as well. He possesses none at all in me. He has no hold in me. So if you're doing what I want you to do, then Luke 4 and Matthew 4. Read them, know them, live by them. Do not die by them. I shall no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he possesses none at all in me. He owns nothing that I say. He literally takes possession of nothing that I say. He finds himself responsible for none of the actions that I require of you. But in order for the world to know that I love the Father, and that as the Father commanded me, so I am doing, rise up, let us go from here. Where are we going?